Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. You know who's not having a fantastic day? The people in charge of the MSC. She just got inspected by the CDC. Did not do too well. We also have some more tragic news coming from Japan, where unfortunately another occupational workplace accident happened with a tragic end. And I also want to mention people who are on the Majestic Princess coming up. The very first sailing this season for Alaska. It's an 8-day sailing, sailing out of Vancouver. My niece is on it with a friend of ours, and oh, there's some problems. So our first story is MSC just got its safety and health inspection from the CDC, where they go and check the cleanliness and the operational safety of the ship, and it scored miserably. Miserably. Many cruise lines will go out and they will boast when their ships get a 100 score on their sanitation and their safety score. It's a big deal, right? I think it's the Disney Fantasy is done 100%. We had the Celebrity Edge 100%. I think Carnival Spirit did. It's a really big deal when a ship hits 100%. It's also a big deal if a ship fails inspection. The MSC Seaside came in with a score of 67. I don't think they're going to be boasting about that score to anybody else. In fact, in the past 15 years, I believe only 3 other ships have scored lower. And that was on cruise ships like very unknown cruise lines, very small cruise lines, independent cruise lines. Yeah, it's not a good look. Some of the things they found were flies in the bar area, standing water underneath the grills in the Tapanaki dining area. They witnessed a crew member preparing raw bloody hamburger meat, and then reached in and took the freezer and opened up one of the freezer doors, went in, got some meat and closed the freezer door, never washed his hands, never washed the handle, things like that. A lot of little things. Now, MSC is going to have to address each and every one of those individually in their response, and I'm sure they're going to be anxious to have the CDC back to do another inspection. Nobody wants a big 67 score plastered on the side of their cruise ship. It is really a bad look, and they say a lot of little things were being let go on the ship, and that's not good for anybody. In other news, just as a matter of whenever you're on a cruise and you're pulling into a port, you will see a pilot boat come out, and a pilot will jump on board, a local expert, and he will guide the cruise ship into the cruise port. They know where the shallows are, they know where there might be a rock, they know the tides, the wind directions. They will guide with the captain, guide the ship into port. It seems like it's a very standard, this happens all the time, an everyday job, etc., etc. Well, this story unfortunately shows that unfortunately things can happen. And in Japan, in Nagasaki, a 67-year-old pilot was jumping on the Diamond Princess to escort her into port, and unfortunately fell into the water. Now, the Diamond Princess crew immediately reacted, got the rescue boats in the water, went out, they retrieved the man, they performed CPR, but unfortunately 2 hours later he was pronounced deceased. And heart's condolences go out. Again, somebody just went to their job and didn't come back. Never a good thing, but it just always goes to show, we see these pilots all the time. A lot of us head to the ship when they're getting on so we can film the exchange and take pictures and things like that. A lot of people like to do that. Just goes to show can be very dangerous. No idea if there were rough seas or what the issues were. But again, a tragic story coming out of Nagasaki, Japan, and yeah, I don't think I'll be looking at a pilot boat quite the same for a little bit now. That's I always think that's one like routine, right? You just step off the boat, you're on another boat, and not necessarily, folks. Not that's why I say even when you're getting off on a tender and getting off onto a small boat off the cruise ships, always be aware of your surroundings and what's happening. If somebody offers you their hand to help you get onto the ship, you don't have to be Mr. Macho and not let the guy help you onto the ship, because you never know what can happen. And yeah, it's just another heads up. Now let's talk about the Majestic Princess. Now the Majestic Princess is arriving in Vancouver today, which was yesterday, because you know today is today, and this video come out tomorrow. But it arrived on Friday. My niece Angelina's on the ship. She's headed down there. She's going to see the chef. She's going to see Kevin, the cruise director. He's also getting on board on this sailing. The first sailing, it's an 8-day return trip from Vancouver. Normally she's going to do north and south, 7-day, but the first sailing is an 8-day return. And yeah, there's some problems. They're running a little late, shall we say. They were late arriving in port, and apparently the cruise port there in Vancouver is not what I would call a traditional cruise port. It's not set up for, seems to be, only cruises. It's also a convention center. So it's more set up for conventions and things like that than it actually is a lot of the time for cruises. A lot of times they'll make you go down this hallway, down some stairs, underneath the building, up the stairs, outside, back down, underneath again, back up. Like it's a complete kerfuffle sometimes, but it sounds like it was a real mess today, because my niece called me, I believe it was like 6 o'clock, which means it was 3 o'clock in Vancouver, and they were still sitting in the terminal, and only a few people had so far gotten on the ship. There were lines around the block, she said, from people trying to get off because the ship was a late arrival, and it doesn't look like the ship's going to leave port till like 10:30, 11 o'clock tonight. And if they don't get everybody on time in time, then when the tide turns, it might be too high for them to get under the bridge, and they might have to wait till tomorrow morning. So yeah, a little bit of a rough start, shall we say, to the cruise, just sitting in a bare empty building like an assembly hall, waiting to get on the ship, because people were there at the hotel. They have to get out of their hotel room at 11 o'clock, and they're still not able to, where are you going to go? You're downstairs. They've already taken. But yeah, these things happen. Again, this is one of those things where I say a transatlantic cruise, if your cruise is coming from across the ocean and arriving in Florida, and you're taking that next cruise, be very attentive to your emails and your phone and all that, because quite often those ships are delayed. They're either late getting back in, or customs officials take longer to get the ship unloaded and ready for prep. They have to go through inspections. So quite often that 11 o'clock boarding time you think you're going to have turns into 3, 4, 5 o'clock boarding time. And it kind of looks like that's what's happening for the Majestic Princess in Vancouver, because my niece's boarding time was 11, and she was still sitting in the terminal at 3 o'clock. And she called me to say, yeah, that's the start of her cruise. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.